1 in 10 men experience sexual abuse or rape. Millions of men since 1998 have reported sexual abuse. 32% of abused children have attempted suicide, and 43% have had thoughts about suicidal ideation. I'm here with Mikey V, one of my good friends, and probably the most courageous guy I know. He was on the podcast a little bit back. We talked about some difficult topics, and we're going to do it again. We were doing some research, and we realized that male sexual abuse is one of the most underreported aspects of men's health. And Mikey has been an advocate for men for many years, and he wants to tell his story and how he's overcome and fought so hard to be an advocate for men. Welcome to the Men's Health Unscripted podcast with Patrick and Cam.
We're focusing everything on men's health. Look at your emotional, your physical, and your spiritual well-being. You're going to take care of that and make sure you keep on going.
Mike Vitale, you're one of my best friends. You're my family. I love you. I've gotten the opportunity to meet you through the podcast and through social media, and I'm just astounded at how strong and courageous you are, Mikey. So let's just dive right in, man. I hear you got a big day today.
I do.
And you're coming on the podcast before your big day, and you want to talk about some tough stuff.
Yes.
So I know previously on the podcast, you talked about when you were a child, you were sexually abused by a couple of men.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
And let's give our audience a little bit of your story in case anybody's looking for help. The purpose of this podcast is we want people that need help to find it. Mikey's an advocate. From our previous podcast, I believe he's had some people reach out to him. And what we're going to do with this podcast is provide you some background, and we will also provide some resources for anyone who needs help, man or woman, doesn't matter. These resources are for everyone. But Mikey, thank you for coming on the show, being vulnerable. Let's do it.
Thank you so much, Patrick. You know, when you had talked to me about doing the third installment and the things that I had coming up, which is today, I have surgery, and it's not a lighthearted surgery. It's a pretty intense surgery, and but I wanted to do this prior to it because, Patrick, so many men have grown from beautiful children who lost their innocence to abusers. And there is one organization that I find very helpful, and they put so much thought and care. It's 1 in 6. 1 in 6 children are raped in their lifetime, and I am one of them. It's a very difficult subject for not just me, but all men to talk about. Why? Because we're trained from an early age, oh, don't cry, or you get hurt, oh, rub some dirt and you'll be okay. But that doesn't work because we grow up, I grow up, and there's so many things that I just lived with for decades, Pat. And it has gotten me sick, and I got into this rut of still blaming myself. Now, at an early age, as we mentioned last time, from the age of 5 to the age of 15, I was sexually abused, molested, raped, tortured. And the sadness of it is because in my particular case, it was somebody my family knew. And I'm not going to mention any names, obviously, but it was a doctor. And the doctor had 2 colleagues. So at any given time, I would be raped either by 1, 2, or 3, passed around. The terror that kept on going through my body, that built that adrenaline, I believe is what kept me going. That's I love the outdoors. I love hiking. I love free climbing and all that. So that's how it was in me as well. So I would take deep breaths the best that I could, and I would get my adrenaline so I could just kind of like go out of body, just meditate, get out of there. But of course, as any horrible predator would do, is watch what the victim is doing. And they saw how I was doing certain things to stop feeling pain or stop. And that made it worse. They ramped up the things that they did to me, the verbal abuse, the things that they called me, the threats. Now, you're talking about 3 doctors. And they're over there saying, do you really think anybody's going to believe you over us? Go for it. We'll destroy your life. We'll kill you. We'll destroy your family. And of course, at that age, we believe it. They were so methodical, so well thought out in the horrific things that they would do, that there was one time that they said to me, you can get free anytime you want. And I thought about it, and I'm like, wait a second, okay. And I try to muster it up, and real quick, I pushed that, because I make facial expression, so it was like, okay, I can't let them think or know. And just let me reiterate, beyond sadistic torture is what I went through. Beyond the abuse. So that particular day, I was like, okay, I know you want to do this, Mikey, but there's got to be a way for me to figure out. So a couple of days later, I'm bound, I'm gagged, being tortured, and in every which way you can imagine torture taking place, with the exception of never touching my face, because that would be a sure lead-in. And the rape was repetitive from the age of 5 to the age of 15, in a week's period of time. In 1 week, averagely, I would get raped at least 3 times. And then the others that they joined in or wanted me to have other times, or if they wanted to invite a friend. So my rape experience was so it was a few days later, and they had said to me once again, you know what, you no good piece of trash, if you want to get free from us, just say it and go. I don't want my power ready. And I was just, okay, I'm gonna do this. I was lightly tied. It wasn't like the normal shackle chain, but what they had put me on. Sometimes they hang me upside down, all of those things. But in this particular case, it was a very light rope where I was able to get my hands out from behind my back. And I saw someplace where I could make an exit. Well, when I got that freedom, I darted and I ran and screamed as loud and fast as you can imagine. To my surprise, when I saw light, it was the moon in the middle of the forest. Yeah, they got me, burlap bag and all over my head. And Patrick, how am I doing okay with, because I'm caring about you too, my friend.
Mikey, you're a warrior, man. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. And be a resource for you.
Thank you, buddy. So yes, they put this burlap bag over my head, tied the bottom of her bag real tight and strong, and tied it to the back of their Jeep, and they drove a little bit through the forest. I assume it was still the forest. And they stopped, and I know they had a rope and they threw it over whatever. It could have been a branch, it could have been a beam. I don't know what it was. But for the entire night, being treated like a piñata, being punched, whipped. They made 3 holes in the bag, so I was raped unbelievably through the hole in the burlap bag while I was hanging upside down. I tried to keep my mind as clear as possible so it wouldn't push me over the edge. And you could probably say, well, how much more would it take to push you over the edge? Well, I was a really happy, energetic, crazy, loving young man, boy, child. So I would think about the things that were special to me. I love photography, and I started when I was very young. You can actually see my camera with me right here behind you. That's just a little thought. Why am I pointing this out? For this reason. I pulled in my head and said, oh, because I was thinking of my favorite things, and I said, oh my God, you have the ability, Michael, to capture and keep in mind sounds, places, voices, all those things, and put it in a photographic way. So this way you can see if it happens again. Is it the same sound? Is it the same bumpy road? Are the guy? Is it 2 guys, 3 guys, 1 guy? Is it a different voice that's coming out? So I'm sharing with you and the audience that's listening the most horrific, the most disgusting, most difficult time of my life. At the age of 15 is when they started to really use drugs on me. Total delirium. They loved using morphine. They loved using ketamine, and it would knock me for a loop. And there's a point within it that you could see, you can't speak, and you can't move. And I wasn't tied up, but I physically could not move, and I couldn't speak. And that they enjoyed very much, because the things they did then still, believe it or not, got worse. If I may share this, remember they are doctors. Getting a plastic bag and putting it over my head, tight, to the point of me passing out. Well, it's not this passing out. They would get the can't think of the name, but they restarters or they resuscitated me, and then they would do it again and again. I started to wonder, is this it? Because I couldn't talk, I couldn't move, but I wondered, is this it? Because I do know they're doctors. They always had masks on, so I didn't know who was who. And, throwing a voice, being in one part of the room, it distorts how it sounds. being raped is a violation of everything that I stand for, we stand for as men, as women as well. When it comes to young boys, when it comes to young men, the fear of speaking about what we've gone through it's pretty sad. People, I've been told I don't, yeah, okay, sure. And that was at one point because when I was in high school at the age of 17, it started again. 17 to the age of 19. And it got worse because now I was not, I don't believe it was them. I believe it was an affiliation to do with them. But they got very hard into tracking me down, and their choice was to torture me without knowing where I was or what was going to happen, keeping me in a very dark place, not speaking to me, but punching me or abusing me or doing things like that. The things that these disgusting, perverted abusers think of, well, we live in a world where so many things, platforms that people see that are disgusting, and they can make it even a whole lot worse. One time there was myself and another young guy who went to school together. We had only one class together, but he was the same age. And you got to remember now we're 18, going on 19. So we both got picked up against our will, I should say, and brought out to somewhere we don't know, but it was far this time. The verbal abuse is horrible because the verbal abuse will actually put you in a mindset that you don't know how to get out of. I tried my best not to believe it, but I wasn't always sure about that, because if I did, now my guard was down. But then the other way, my guard could have been so far up that I could have caused myself to be harmed by another part of it. So the two of us, bag over our head, stripped, and we were side by side. We were tied back to back. And one of the main guys made an announcement and made it very clear, because one of the abusers was standing next to us, and they would give us some punches. They would give us some prodding and so forth, to listen, because they really wanted us to hear this. They said, okay, we'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's festivities. Now, you guys all know about fight clubs. This time, it's a sex club. We're going to be auctioning off two young men. Okay. And when we auction off these two young men, you got to do whatever you want, no holds bar, for as long as you want, before sunrise. So, my friend, they told us the amount of people there. There was 60 bidders. My friend got 20. I got 40. I'm happy that he got less, but I got 40. And if you can think of it, it happened. And the reward for being the highest of the bid was to get the other guys, 20 people, 20 men, to come over, join, and enjoy destroying me and hurting me, doing whatever they wanted to. I'll never forget that. Never will I forget that. There are so many things that go on. And men, including myself for the longest time, did not talk about it or would not talk about it. Yes, we fall underneath the category of nobody's going to believe me. This isn't me. That, you know what? It didn't happen. And that's a big safety net. It didn't happen. I must have imagined it, but it happened. And unfortunately, I can't speak for the other young guy, because myself, college, moving around a little bit and so forth. And I started getting a couple of notes, letters, things that were triggers. And I'm like, okay, this is not real. This can't be happening. So I encourage everybody to utilize the resources that are surrounding us. They're not that easy at times to find. You have to know the right way to put it in or find it. Patrick, I have a list of groups that are incredible, so helpful. Hotlines, therapists that work through and don't even charge because of the situation with us men. And as a young guy, naive, didn't think about what's the proper way to get these guys in trouble. But I took psych as one of my classes. Yeah, talk to Michael. He's on psych. And I'm sorry, I giggle and laugh when I get a little nervous. And it's not nervous. What it is it's sadness. It's sadness. If I can help one guy, then my journey has not been in vain. And the number of guys, statistic-wise, of rape, well, as of the end of 2022, just for the United States, there was 12,550 men raped that year.
In 2022?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Now,
and that's just reported.
That's just reported. That's not saying kids, teens, adults. Yeah, because when those numbers are tabulated, because I really researched it, well, my childhood story wouldn't be there when they did the calculation, because they were talking to adults, so they were tabulating kids in it. But I missed their deadline. I missed out on them, and I would have been one more. I can't emphasize enough. Please don't make the mistake that I did. Seriously, guys. And this is the mistake that I did. I had said 17, 18, and 19. And then it would sporadically happen, 22, 28. And I knew it was just guys just don't randomly get raped. Some do, yes. But in their life, in a short period of time like that, and I did I did get a note. It was encrypted, but I was able to break it. And I got the message of, your life does not belong to you. It belongs to us. We will always own you. Your thoughts are only given to you by us. We own your thoughts. You will always remember this. You will never forget this. You are a worthless piece of crap. And that you will remember forever and ever to the day you die. I told you it was it was mean. It was horrible. And what it does is, it's not that it changes your sexuality. What it does is it changes your view of sexuality, the way you go out on a date and what you do, the way you romance, the way you become intimate. I sometimes I have to fight real hard and push a flashback, because I can be there and I can be having the best time of my life, enjoying myself. And then all of a sudden, a trigger or a flashback, and I'm like, oh my God, and lose the moment. I'm trying my best to keep the moment going, but you don't, when you're doing what you're doing, and then all of a sudden it becomes, and you see your abuser standing there raping you, imagination is bad. So one of the pieces that I had said, I really don't want you to make the same mistake. And it's a big mistake. And it's not only made by myself, Patrick, and everyone needs it. It's made by quite a few people. When I gotten raped, and this was going into the latter part, going into the 17, 18, and the 20s and so forth, even when I was younger, but I really didn't understand it that much. But it was when I was older. The moment it was over, I ran home, turned the water on, turned the shower on, got all types of soap. One time I even got cleanser, and I got into the shower and I scrubbed every inch of my body to the point of bleeding a bit here and there, but I couldn't take it. Message up. And of course, I needed to get it out. Whenever it got very, very hard or very intense, of course, the doctors of Dr. Fields, in penetration, anus as well as penis, if I'm able to say that, penetrated me very, very hard, very deep. They wanted me to express and show the pain. When I had first developed testicular cancer, one of the doctors and one of the urologists had said to me, we are seeing a significant amount of bruising in your rectum and your prostate. And you're kind of a young guy for having any bruising. And I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so the bruising caused a lot of damage. Developing cancer, not only once, but twice, also accelerated those bruises, because things for years were carrying broken blood cells. There was areas of the nodes that were damaged because there's a term, and it's called chemical ablation. Well, you take chemicals, which is basically like 99 proof rubbing alcohol, medical rubbing alcohol, and put it on something and put it inside the victim, me. It's chemically shaving the inside of an area as well as burning it. I do have surgery today. Anytime I go to my doctors, anytime I go for surgery, when I'm on that stretcher, gurney, whatever you want to call it, I try to hold back my tears the best I can. I think of friends, I think of family. Patrick, I'm going to be thinking of you today. I try to do my best because, it's like the moment, it's like the anesthesiologist and the doctor come to you and they're like, okay, you ready, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me check you, and up goes the sheet and there goes the touching. Because the surgery today is all around the genitalia. So have to move the penis. Okay, let's check this way. So I was very damaged. I've had so many surgeries in my lower extremities that it's sickening. So when I get into the operating room, before they knock me out, I will usually say, can you just tell me please what position I'm going to be in? And I'll get like, what do you mean? I'm like, so I know am I going to be facing on my side? Am I facing the ceiling? Am I facing the floor? I don't know if you picked up on why I would ask that. To commit to hear that if I was not, and once I'm knocked out and woken up, I can tell by the way I was situated 2 weeks ago, surgery. I asked, they told me I was on my left side, my arm was extended. When surgery was over, big black and blue on my arm and on my side. I knew I was on the side that they told me that I was going to be on. So, yeah, today's is going to be a tough one. And, but I'm going to get through it. I'm not alone. I am loved by so many people, family, friends. So many people are out there who have sent so many greetings and encouragement and best wishes and all these types of things. And it lifts you up. And it's a good feeling. It's needed to always remember you're not alone. You're not. You might feel it because then comes the depression, PTSD, which I'm diagnosed with both, anxiety, and all of that. And please, guys, if you feel a certain way after a situation which is horrible, please don't harm yourself. Please reach out, a friend, a hotline, someone. Please, your life is so valuable. Please don't ever take it because they would have won once again. Please take care of yourself. Let those miserable scums that harm us and hurt us, let them die the miserable death that they deserve to have. It's not easy. I found a number of very, very helpful foundations. As I had mentioned earlier, 1 in 6, very helpful because that's a true statistic. And one of the other ones that I would highly recommend. It's called Male Sexual Assault Society. And then the same way with the word science afterward. They have such a large format. You could find therapists from them. You could find other groups that might be closer to you. There's so many different things. I've done so much research because I thought that I was not alone. I wasn't going to be alone. And it was very difficult to find place, and I did. And not only did I found a lot of them. So that made me feel really good, and I'm happy. Pat, how you doing over there?
Pissed off hearing your story, just at your abusers. Frankly, we've discussed it before. I don't like people that are in a vulnerable situation to be taken advantage of. And hearing your stories is difficult. I'm looking at you. I mean, I look at you and I'm like, Mikey's an average guy. He's a fun-loving guy. We talk on the phone. We laugh. We tell jokes. And I can't imagine what you've gone through. And, I think you said it before, and, we talked about it. It's like these guys took your life away from you and tried to just strip you of everything.
Yes.
And it's powerful stuff, Mikey, because through all that you've been through, you still have a great attitude. You still put others before yourself, and you advocate for male sexual abuse. You advocate for, testicular cancer, and your attitude about it is awesome. And it's kind of the same attitude that we had coming into the podcast, was if we could just help one guy.
So if it's just one guy, then my story or my journey will be worth it. It's horrible hearing what not only myself, but others go through. The young boy, my friend, that was part of the auction, he passed away 2 weeks ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. He did take his life. It will eat at you. Sometimes my mind is like this film projector, and it's in a loop, and I can't shut it off, and I do my best, because they want to own me, like they said, and they drilled it into my head while I'm standing strong and saying, no, you do not own me. No, I was not given to you as a prize, because I was told that as well. It was not my fault. I was a victim who had no say. It hasn't been easy, Pat. It really hasn't. But again, knowing that friends, colleagues, people that you feel comfortable to talk to are there helps. Because going about it on your own, I had plenty of those in the bedroom, lights off, curtains closed, and burrowed underneath the blanket, and just did not want to come out. And sometimes that would happen like a week at a time. Just getting out of that, just couldn't do it. I was afraid. I was looking over my shoulder, what's going to happen next? But the depression, PTSD, anxiety, all of those things. Patrick, thank you so much for giving me the time and the opportunity to get the word out there. We have voices, and I have chosen to lend my voice as loudly and clearly as I can to help as many as I can, along with my good friend Patrick. Is anything else you want to ask, Matt, or anything else?
Yeah. So I appreciate, I'm thanking you, Mikey. I mean, you're coming on here, you're sharing your experience where most guys wouldn't. And it doesn't mean that they're weak. They're just, there's no options. They don't know what to do. And in talking to you, you just kind of stated that you didn't say, you knew that it wasn't your fault, that you were a victim. How long did it take you to come to that realization? Because, knowing what I know about sexual abuse and just being a healthcare professional and understanding, statistics, basically, I don't have any personal account.
How long did it take me to get to the point of saying it wasn't my fault?
What were the steps that it took for you to realize that this wasn't Mikey's fault? This was your abusers were just, excuse my language, sick fucks.
No,
And
by all means.
I want to just know you don't cuss. I do. And I'm angry.
I didn't know I could.
I'm angry. I'm angry because I hear about this and I know that, unfortunately, that this isn't an incident in isolation. This happens a lot. And whatever numbers are reported, it's probably much greater. And so for anyone listening who needs the help or knows someone who needs the help, what were the steps that you took to realize that this wasn't your fault and to start at least starting the healing process or starting to find help so that you're not going to take your own life? Because just like you said, most men who are sexual assaulted, and probably women, I mean, I don't know the statistics there, but they take their own life. I mean, this is something where, like you've said too, these people, they try to own you and they try to take your life from you. And so what are the steps that you took to take your life back?
I did a lot of reading, a lot of research. And let me answer this part that you asked. How long did it take? I believe you said. How long did it take before I started to realize or realized? Well, I remember the first time that I was raped, I was 5 years old. Over 40 years. And that was from one of the doctors who actually is doing my surgery today. A couple of months ago, he said to me, Michael, I want us to be open and honest with one another. And he told me about a good friend of his who was a professor, and they ran into one another, and the professor had told him what happened as a child, that he was raped. And then he started to realize that his life was now changing. He took it back. Why am I saying this to you? Because this surgeon that I'm seeing today is one of the facets that helped me to really get help and attention. And that's a good doctor. That's one of the good doctors.
Mm-hmm.
However, he knows when I get on the operating table, I'll smile and I'll give him a little thumbs like that, and he knows what that means. Like, I'll take care of you, don't worry. But it took me over 40 years, 40, and it was piece by piece. I went through a very, very long period of just crying uncontrollably. Could not stop the tears, the weeping, and just being alone. I found out that was referred to as the mourning period, mourning the loss of your innocence, your childhood, your youth, your sexuality, so to speak. They took that away from me. So one of the stages is mourning. I started just to get very loud with friends, lash out, making small things into big things. And I was okay, I don't even want to be with you guys right now. And of course, that's the anger stage. So I sat down one night, and I know I hurt a couple of my friends' feelings. And by doing that, I said, Michael, they physically abused you, but they also verbally abused you. You lash out, you get upset. Yes, it is a mourning process. We're allowed to be angry, but you don't use verbal things to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. The reaching out to psychiatrist, therapist, a trauma therapist. And trauma therapist is the one that's almost like a boot camp, standing in front of you and saying, okay, Michael, were you raped? Yes. How badly was it? And it's called, it's like scaring you, to that point. By the way, what did you call the abusers?
Me?
Yeah.
Sick fucks.
That's the one. Okay. I'm using your voice there.
All right.
You know why I wanted you to do that?
Why?
Because I am so mad. I am so mad right now. Yes, I have a lot on my plate today, but I am so mad right now. And actually hearing you saying it, having come out of your mouth, it's kind of like you're rallying for me. You're like, come on, Mike. And that means a lot. Yes, the predators that are out there, it's sick. Oh man, it's sick. Children, preteens, teens, it doesn't take a young age, because even men get raped. Men meaning grown up. And it happens. And we as men, what we can do is we can rally along and help them out. And that's the biggest part that really helped me, was one the groups that I was in, as well as my friends, were cheering me on, like, come on, you got this. And putting a smile on my face by calling the people who did these things to me, nasty things or anything like that. And it helped, because now I was able to laugh at something. And I got to the point where I'm still going through programs. They're not done. Not by any means. And it's a hard battle, and I'll never be done with it, because it's so far embedded in my life. Sorry about that. That was the bat line. It's so, thank you for smiling. It's so,
you always make me laugh. I don't know what it is, Mikey. I don't know how you do it, man. You can take me from serious as a heart attack and make me giggle, man. I don't know how you do
it. I appreciate it. You just make me so mad to laughing.
I'm like over here about to cry, and then Mikey just like makes me laugh. You're the man.
Crying helps quite a bit. It does. It helps kind of cleanse him, and helps you breathe. And laughter, well, laughter is just camaraderie together and all that. And Pat, I know you pretty well to not let you just sit there, listen to me, and be quiet, and not have your heartstrings being pulled on. You're too good of a guy. And I can't control how you feel, but I do know you're feeling very heavy sadness. And that's okay, because when I hear reports about men, children, things that have happened, every second, one man around the world is being raped. 1 second. Every second, the entire world. It takes a lot of research.
Yeah, it's it's tough to find. After we first we met, and kind of it took a while for both of us to discuss, the topics. And I know that we first initially wanted to talk about testicular cancer, on our first recording. And then I appreciate you so much for feeling comfortable with me that we could move on to more difficult subjects like this and sexual abuse.
Sure.
And so after hearing your story the first time, or just, really a piece of it, today is kind of a lot more of it. I started looking into it because it was something as, we have a men's health podcast. We try to cover all subjects objectively. And I started doing some research, and there isn't a lot of information on it. There's little articles here and there. There's some little statistics here and there. And, some of the sad stuff is that some of the statistics I found are like before the year 2000.
No,
They don't even have some of the most updated stuff. And that's why when I heard you say 2022, I was like, damn, I searched for hours and I couldn't even find that. And so I know you've put a lot more effort into it. And that's why I'm happy that you're here, so you can express these stats and emotions and things. And
it's my pleasure.
I do have another question for you, and this has kind of been on my mind the whole time.
Okay.
So when these horrific things were happening to you, and you were saying that you were being punched and beaten and things, I can imagine that there was probably some kind of marks left on you.
Yes.
Did you ever try to show those to your parents or law enforcement? Or I know that, based on our conversations, you were frightened to come forward, but your parents probably had to see you, like, at least, a shirt off or something running around the house. What did they say? What did they ask about? These sound like these bruises are.
Yes, I do. Very much so. Answer. One of the doctors was family doctor. His two colleagues were our neighbors. Okay, we're going on our monthly camping trip. I've heard earlier. I used to love free climbing, and hiking and climbing and all of that, daredevil. I would, if I fell or got a bruise, and it was also made known that that's what we're going to do, because I loved hiking and that wasn't being taken away from me, but those bruises, never the face, unless it was caused by me. I did not talk to a single soul about it until this past year. I couldn't tell my family. It would have been devastating. Family doctor, gotta remember that. And I have my father has 7 brothers and 3 sisters, and so large family, cousins and all that, and they all go to this same doctor. And it killed me when, it's like, as I was growing up, I'm like, oh my God, how do I know if they're okay? But so my family, it's like, oh, Michael, are you being accident prone again? What's going on? Are you still going to the gym and lifting more weight than you should be? So see, these things are easily placed when you go for a checkup and your mom is there. And at that point, it's being said, Michael's been working out way too heavy with weights. Boom. Where's my credibility?
So they just dismiss you before you even have the opportunity.
Yeah. And the fear. Oh, the fear does destroy, kill. They could have almost killed me anytime there, because basically when I said you got the plastic bag over my head, it's basically when you stop breathing, when your heart stops, and a couple of quick seconds. And I went through that trauma that day for a number of times. The police, when I went to the police station one time, being young, they had said, well, you have to come in with your parents and you have to go, tell us exactly what happened. But we're gonna tell you right now, kid, um, it's not gonna really be easy because you said you didn't see any faces and you have no proof. So if you really want to put your family through that, or proceed.
So even law enforcement dismissed you.
I am so angry. Beyond, I'm so angry. They destroyed my life. I am thriving. I'm trying to take back everything that I possibly can. I'm a good man. I didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves it. And no, different stages, nobody took me serious. And it took a lot for me to get in front of someone to do that. And no, there was no believing on it. So I've been living with it till about just this year. And it's very difficult. I still go through bouts of crying. I do suffer from depression. I have been analyzed with 2 forms of PTSD. I have very strong anxiety, and yeah, it goes on. But I'm gonna smile, and it's not fake. And I made you laugh before, and
Mm-hmm.
that was cool. And yeah, it's a hard fight. Getting your words out for them to be heard. If you can do it, please do it. Someone like me who's using a platform, my agenda is also to be able to speak for those who can't speak, in the sense where the fear, they're still going through it, but they can't get the word. So to be able to get, the officials more involved, that this is real. How are you not taking serious someone what they're reporting to you? So still have a lot more work to do. And Pat, I will always help you in any way that I can.
Same here, Mikey.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a number of different foundations and so forth that I will share with you if you wish.
Yeah.
And
we'll put them in the description of the podcast, and we'll put them up on our website and share them on social media, just so the information can get out there, because you've put in the work.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And before you let me go, what were my abusers? What were they? What did you call them?
Sick fucks.
That's what it was. I almost forgot. Now I'm smiling again. Patrick, thank you so very much. I really enjoyed it, no matter what is going on in my head, tears, anger, frustration, anxiety for surgery, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. You know why? You are one amazing, incredible man who has helped put so much great information out there for people, and are sitting and talking to someone like myself who's gone through so much, and giving me the platform to be able to share, help you, help those who need help, because there's a lot of men who need help and are suffering.
Yeah. I mean, just talking to you today, Mikey, I mean, I've learned so much again in the short time we've been discussing this. And, I appreciate you putting in the work to help men, because there isn't enough, men's health, men's whatever advocates for guys. I think that society puts us in a tough place where we have to, you just got to be strong all the time, and you just got to keep fighting. And yeah, I mean, yeah, for a little bit, but this shit gets, you just got to get, you got to get tired of that. And then having nowhere to go, nowhere to turn. And I'm happy there's more resources for men out there, and it's a growing field. But I mean, when you were a kid, Mikey, there's probably nothing. I mean,
when I was a kid, and and I don't want to take much longer, but when I was a kid, and the doctor wanted, he needed to do, his examination and so forth. But when he finally felt comfortable or enough, who the heck gives a 5-year-old a prostate exam? On all fours on the table, he says, I need to check this out. I had no idea what that was. And what are you doing? Okay, I guess you have to do it. You're the doctor.
right.
So it's a sick world. But there's also a lot of great people, a lot of great men who are starting to and willing to share their stories. And yeah, I'm an advocate, and I want men to feel good, because there's too many men that are just being pulled down, because opening the mouth is the hardest thing to do. So I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep on thriving, and I'm going to get through this. It's always going to be here, but I will get through this. And thank you so much, Patrick.
Mikey V, the most courageous, badass guy I know. And I say that from the bottom of my heart, man. Like, you really are, to be able to come on here. I don't think I could do it, man. So the fact that you could do it, and that this year has been such a big year for you, and I know you've helped more than one guy too. I know you've helped a lot more than one guy, and coming in with that goal is great, but I know that you've done it, man. So, good luck today. I know you got a big day, and I want to hear from you.
I will let you know how everything goes. Patrick, once again, my dear friend, love you. Have a great day.
Love you, Mikey.